Fueled by Death guest.
How did you become to be wanting to be doing something like that? I'm sure you got training for it, right?
Yeah, so it's very technical and it's a very loaded question. And the reason why is because I've been in like the security firearms industry for about 16 years.
Okay.
More than 16 years since 2002, later 2002. And I was on a lot of private security details. And on one of my details, my partner at the time, his name is Brent McDowell, and he was doing the fugitive recovery on his downtime or whatnot. So he's like, "Oh, this will be good for you. This is what you should do. You know, you seem like somebody who can handle this kind of stuff." And at the time, I was like, "It's not my thing." Like I was heavy onto the detail at the time. What detail were we on? I think we were working for Washington Mutual, and we were bank robbery suppression agents. And what that was that we wore plain clothes, and we would sit in lobbies or the front doors of Washington Mutuals that were getting hit by bank robbers. Whoa. So we were there to intercept them. So at the time, whatever, we were busy with that. So I didn't really think much about doing anything else because I was always busy with that, because we were there 2 hours before the bank opened and 2 hours after the bank closed. So we were there all day. I didn't have time to do much or whatever. So
I have to ask, did you run into bank robbers?
So I didn't. They usually stuck me in the worst neighborhood. So I would work in Little Haiti, which is not too far from where we're at right now.
Yeah.
And it's like the worst neighborhood. And they ended up hitting the bank that I swapped out of. Oh so they ended up catching the guys or whatever. And then I think that was the end of like our contract. Once they caught the guys, I think we were just done, and then we moved on or whatever. So that was how that seed got planted, was during that detail. Mm-hmm. And then I think years passed or whatnot, and it's kind of like a character in a game. I kind of like maxed out all my accomplishments, mm-hmm. and was just like, you know what, there's nothing else I can do in what I'm doing, because like on the security side, I've already traveled the world. I've done all Central South America. I've already been in civil wars in these countries. And it's like, I've already maxed out where I think I could be. And then I've already worked for diplomats. Like I worked for a Saudi prince for 6 years. He's actually the one that got arrested last year in the corruption scandal.
Oh my God.
Where they arrested him. He's the main guy. I worked for him for 6 years. I delivered 3 of his kids.
How was that? Was that an experience? That must have been, or was it pretty mellow?
It was pretty mellow, and the reason why is because since he's an executive, he's a diplomat. He owned MNBC, which is like the competition to Al Jazeera in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So he was always stateside, and he's educated on the stateside. So all he did was just travel and buy dumb shit and spend stupid money. Like he had what I call "fuck you" money.
Yeah,
Like he can just do whatever. Like we would go to a movie theater, like on Lincoln Road in South Beach, and he would smoke a cigar in the theater. Like he just did not give a fuck.
Wow.
Because if you had a problem, he would like buy your soul on the spot. He'd be like, "What are you worth?" Like he could give a shit.
Wow.
So worked for him for a while, whatever, and then I did a lot. Then I've done tour security for every fucking band. I've done security for a lot of rappers, a lot of producers. I worked for a lot of executives. I was kind of bored because I kind of got to a point where I'm just like, what do I do at this part of this game? Like, right. I'm like stuck. So I'm like, I can't like level up or prestige. Can't I just prestige, you know? So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me look into the fugitive side. So over time, throughout like my contacts or whatever, and over the years, I became good friends with Leland, which is Dog's son.
Yeah.
Okay.
And me and him are actually like really good friends right now. So it's like, it's crazy how like you grew up like watching something on TV, and now like you guys are like best friends.
Did
like,
that influence you at all as far as going?
So that's what happened. So we became friends, and I was a PI at the time. I've been a PI for a lot of years. So at the time, he had hit me up because I was referred to him. He's like, "Hey, I need help with a case that's in Florida. Can you help me out?" So the first time we actually met was on a warrant.
Yeah.
So we actually grabbed Alabama's top 3 most wanted. This guy's been running for years. So me and him, and at the time I had a partner, and at the time he had a partner. Me and him, we went to to a location where I found where the guy worked. I did my homework. I found him. We ended up hitting the job where he worked at, and we arrested the guy, and then they transported him back to Alabama. So that's like where my relationship with him came into play. Excuse me. So it's kind of like just a lot of outside influences made me do it. And then just with my history of being a PI for fucking years and finding people. And then I kind of did a lot of like, I don't know how can I say this without fucking incriminating myself. I did a lot of like asset recovery.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, if somebody, you know, had something that was yours or owed you something, I kind of went and got it for you.
Oh.
So with my experience doing that, I kind of put my skills together and said, you know what, let me just get into the legal kidnapping side. So technically it's kind of like legal kidnapping. I mean, I go and I find people and I kidnap them.
Yeah.
Not illegally.
Right.
They have to have warrants,
Right.
but it's just legal kidnapping.
Right.
So I kind of just did it on the legal side.
napping.
Yeah, man napping. So like hide and seek, adult hide and seek.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it got into place. I mean, nothing really was like a specific factor. I just got bored and said, fuck it, I want to do this.
I feel like people have this glamorous idea of what a bounty hunter is, right? They think it's this dude chasing down outlaws like a fucking cowboy. And I know it can't be. It's
No.
got to be grueling hours.
It's
Can you
the
talk
worst.
about like what that grind is like?
All right, so in the state of Florida alone, I can't speak about other states, but the word bounty hunter or the title bounty hunter can't be used as illegal.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
we're considered what's called a surety agent.
Okay.
So us as surety agents, it's hell. The reason why is because, let's say you go to jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you a background of how bail bonds. I mean, I don't know how much time we have or how
we
much
got
we
it
talk
all.
about. Okay, so everybody knows and at least can have some sort of education on the background of how this works. Is that when you go to jail, let's say you go to jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to bond you out. Your bond was $100,000, right? I'm a bond company. You come to me and say, hey, my buddy's in jail. It's $100,000. Okay, well, I need 10%. So you have to give me 10%, which is what? 10
Right.
grand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you don't have the 100K to come out of jail. So I'm going to front you what's called a bond. And I'm going to give the court a check for, it's not a check, it's like a legit like paper, it's a bond.
Yeah.
And it's got what we call powers. And it's going to say $100,000 on it. And I'm going to give the court $100,000 to promise that I'm going to put you back in court when the time comes. Now, court comes. You don't show up. The court now takes my $100,000
Right.
and says, we're going to hold this until you bring him back. But every set amount of days, well, technically months, we're going to take a percentage back of how much you can get back until you bring him back. So I think it's after 2 years in total, they can take 100% of your money.
Wow.
So right now I'm on a time crunch to try to bring you back in jail. So now what am I going to do? As a bond company, I signed your bond. 95% of the people who write bonds won't do the pickups. They're called pickups. So they'll hire guys like me to do the pickups, but I have to be appointed by that bond company. So meaning they have to give me the power to say, hey, go get this guy.
Right.
Now here's the way this works. I'm the bond company that bonded you out. But behind me is the insurance company who gave me that bond. So from that initial 10%, they keep like a percent or two or whatever. But now they're linked to what's called a buff account, which is a backup fund account. That money now got taken from my bank account from the insurance company. The court took the bond company, which is the one that's backing me, took the 100K out of my bank account. So now I'm on a scramble because now the insurance company took my 100K. The court took the 100K from the insurance company. So now it's like a trickle-down effect. So now everybody's mad at you.
Right.
So they call me, I hunt them down, I bring them back. I normally get the initial 10%. So the initial 10K is what I'm going to get paid to bring you back. So people are like, oh, but how's that fair to the bond company? I'm like, the fuck you mean how's that fair? At least they get back their $100,000.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll work with the bail bondsman if they've given me repeatedly, I'm going to fuck up that word, whatever. If they've given me enough work, I'll only charge them like 8%. So they can keep at least 2% and their overheads, at least they made something from that bond and not losing their ass on it. So that's how that works. So people think it's just like, oh, you get an address and you go and you fucking knock on the door, take down the door, whatever. No, that's not how that works. So when you forfeited, which is called forfeiting, when you forfeited that bond from what you gave the information initially, which is the intake form, a lot of times that information is not real or right.
Right.
So by the time you forfeited would be a month or two when you got your court date. In a month or two, you're already gone. You're fucking in another state, another county, new phone numbers, new car, new whatever. So now I have to go and start from the initial form that you signed. And that form, I've got to go through all your references, and I got to start doing my homework and my homework and my homework. So it's hell because you earn your money. Like, it's fucking, like, the risk versus reward is not there.
Yeah.
So, like, if it's a small bond, like your bond, 100,000, very rare, very rare.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's fucking possession charges, traffic charges, domestics. So what? That's like 5K bonds, $10,000 bonds. So what am I gonna get? $500, $1,000?
Right.
So that's 90% of my bonds. So what's gonna happen? I'm gonna kill myself for 2-3 weeks trying to find you for $500. So people think, oh, you make so much money. No, motherfucker, I don't. I actually lose money on these fucking things. So I'm gonna spend fucking 2 weeks of tolls, gas, hotels, because you're never in the same fucking city.
Yeah.
Food, overhead, paying off CIs for what? To make $500? So that's where I'm at. So people think, oh, you live this life. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, but you don't see the shit that I put behind it.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I grab these guys, but what I get paid is like what I call my karma bank. I am happy knowing that I put these scumbags behind bars.
Right.
So I don't touch like possession charges. Like
Right.
I don't give a fuck if you had weed. I don't care if you're smoking. That shit
It's a
don't bother
victimless
me.
crime at that point.
Right.
Exactly. But if you have like, if you're trafficking heroin or fucking ecstasy or some crazy shit that you can die from, like, and you're hurting kids, yeah, I'm gonna come after you for that.
Yeah.
That's a different possession charge. But if it's like cannabis and bullshit, I don't deal with it. So I'll get the warrant. They'll give them to me, but I'll make a call. I'll be like, hey, look, you have a bullshit cannabis charge. Don't make me come out. Turn
Yeah.
yourself in, and we'll deal with it.
I've even noticed when you take in some of these guys, you'll give them a heads up. Hey, do you have shit in your pockets you don't want?
Yeah, so I do that for two reasons. One, I'm not going to fucking take them to jail with shit in their pockets.
Right.
Because they'll probably get another charge. Two, it could be like I planted it. How the fuck would they know?
Yeah.
Because I don't have the power to add that charge of a possession on you.
Right.
So for me to remove that headache of going to the jail and be like, oh, but he had drugs on him. And the guy's like, oh, but he put it on me. How do I prove that?
Yeah.
So I'd rather get rid of that. The second reason why is because if I gain that confidence with them, they'll be truthful for the next question. If they have anything on them that's going to hurt them or me, which means if they have a gun, a knife, things like that, a lot of times they'll have guns on them.
Yeah.
So what I do is because like, oh, people are like, what do? Do you take the gun? I'm like, no, I don't fucking take the gun. I take the gun and I throw it behind a dumpster because I can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Right.
What am I do? Put it in my car? I get pulled over. Like I get fucked for it. So like what I do is I dump the gun and I'll call local PD. Be like, hey, look, I found the gun. This is where it's at.
Yeah.
So PD will come out and grab it.
Yeah.
I'm not on the scene. I'm out of there.
Yeah.
And the guy's fucking safe for that firearms charge because it doesn't bother me. But the problem is that I remove that risk of getting into a fucking unnecessary shootout.
Right. Right.
So they'll tell me, like, look, I got a gun, and I'll say, okay, where it's at, and I keep it calm.
Yeah.
Versus a lot of police officers, not fucking dogging police officers. I'm pro law enforcement. A lot of them will escalate a situation if they find out you have a gun on them or tell them. They're like, oh, where's the gun? And they start fucking freaking out.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is that if they're willingly telling you, I have a gun on me, they're not going to fucking use it.
Yeah.
Like, it's the point of if you come with respect, you'll get respect.
Right.
Yeah.
So they don't understand that a lot of law enforcement, a lot of other bounty hunters, I'm only going to use the title bounty hunter because it's easy to reference because saying surety agent, you're like, what the fuck is that?
Right.
A lot of the people will show up to a fucking scene screaming, yelling, dealing with bullshit, but if you're respectful with these people, they'll be respectful with you.
Right. Right.
Sometimes I come out 100%. The reason why is because they've already ran or they've been blatant on social media or I've already made contact and they've been disrespectful and I know that they're going to fucking be 100 miles an hour when I get there.
Yeah.
So then I have to up it and fucking, diminish the threat.
So you must deal with a lot of, I mean, that's got to be an intense situation when you come out and you're busting a guy. You know he's got a weapon. He's even bragging about the weapon. He's already giving you hell. That must be a pile of nerves at that point. How do you keep your head level?
So people always ask me like, oh, do you get nervous? Like, how's your anxiety, whatever. The funny thing is that it never bothers me until I'm on the way home.
Oh, like the after effect.
The after effect. The after effect, I promise you, every fucking time, the second I close my door and I'm done, I tell myself, why the fuck do you do this? Like, I legit tell myself, I'm like, why do you do this? And here's the fucking kicker. I work alone.
Right.
I don't have a team.
Yeah.
Everybody else has teams. And the reason why I don't do that is because, one, I split the $500
Right, right.
between 4 guys.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is that nobody will ever work like you.
Right.
As much as you can trust somebody or you have faith in their training or their whatever, they're not going to be you. And it sucks because ultimately I have to get a partner or figure something out so I'm not fucking in a suicidal situation that I'm always in. But what I try to do is I set up my cases in a sense where it's like I minimize my risk. So I find out if they're at school, if they have work, if they are going to be somewhere public. Like, I'll follow them places where it would minimize a problem.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't work. Like, I grabbed the guy at a Chili's in the middle of like lunch hour, and he fucking backhanded me and ran. There's a video on my Instagram.
No, I missed that one. I gotta go look at
Yeah,
that
he
one.
like I came up to him, I grabbed him by the elbow. I'm like, "What's up, Thomas? Let's go." And he goes, "Hey, what's up?" And he goes, "Boom!" and backhands me and fucking just books it. Yeah, I tased him twice. It was like he took me on a fucking run. Like, it was hell. But you know, it's not fun. It sucks, and especially that depending on what kind. Like, I always wear kit. I always wear gear.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing a fucking like 30-pound vest, which is level 4 plates, ceramic plates, with all my kit on, and I have my duty belt, and it's like I have to deal with now runners. It's like fucking bullshit. So a lot of people are like, oh, why do you wear gear? I'm like, you know why? It's because I don't feel like dying today.
Yeah.
Right.
Because there's like this fucking nerd on Instagram. He's like a bounty hunter supposedly. I'm not one to throw shade, but he threw shade through his story talking about, oh, you don't always have to wear I know he was directing it towards me. And he was like, oh, you don't always have to wear a plate carrier like you thinking you're fucking Rambo or whatever, talking shit. But the guy wears fucking Prada belts and skinny jeans to go and skinny slacks.
Yeah.
Slacks with Gucci loafers to go apprehend people.
What's he busting tax evaders?
But that's the problem is that's what people don't understand. The level of people that I grab are ones that nobody wants to touch.
Right.
They're battery on police officers. They're fleeing and looting. They're fucking aggravated assaults, armed robberies. This guy's grabbing fucking heroin possession.
Yeah.
Okay, what? The guy's going to stab you with a fucking needle? Of course,
Right.
fine, whatever. You know, it is what it is. But for me, I rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people in my industry that are good and give off a good image and good for the industry. And there's some people that just like fucking... They're like the ones that you were talking about earlier, like, oh, people must think that you do this and you're this, and like it's because of those assholes that think it's that easy.
Right.
But it's not, because if it's that easy, then anybody can fucking do it.
Right.
So it sounds intensely intense and very difficult and not a lot of payoff. Is it
No.
the karma that really gets it for you? I mean, you mentioned your karma bank. Is there something else that makes you do it? Because it doesn't really sound like it pays off.
No, it
what it's
doesn't. It
worth.
doesn't pay off at all. The risk versus reward is not there. It's just, I guess I do it to keep my skills in check in my off time between security contracts.
Okay.
So I kind of feel like it keeps me on edge and it keeps me keen, because I feel like kind of like that bicycle you throw in your garage and it's rusting out, and then when you
Yeah.
want to jump on it, it'll work, but not to what it was when
Use
you
it
first
or
put
lose
it.
it, yeah.
Exactly. So that's how I kind of feel like I justify why I do things in life, which I shouldn't do that, but I do it in a sense where like I feel like I need to do it because it's like my own training to keep me up to par in my normal career, if you want to call it a fucking career. But yeah.
You talked a lot about too social media. You're very active on social media. I think it's interesting because you get a window into what you're doing, but you're also very educational with what you do and how you do it, and I think that shines a light on this type of thing. But on the other side of that, is social media a tool for someone in your field now? Like, do you use social media to help you find these people?
Without giving up too much away from the craft, just so like people who are, because a lot of people who have warrants actually followed me and they've admitted before, be like, oh, I knew you were
They
coming
follow
again.
your social media?
Yeah.
So good.
So fucking like I've had 2 people admit, they're like, yeah, I knew you were coming because I saw my house in your story.
Oh no.
But the funny thing is that people will talk, bro. The amazing thing about social media is that it gives people who don't need to be heard a voice. And to explain that, people love to talk shit in my fucking comments. And the funny thing is that I do read them. I read a lot of this shit because I'm bored. And I'm fucking sitting on a surveillance for 12 hours straight. So I'm going to go through my shit. And the funny thing is that, like, I wish there was a button to just poke and I could just punch you right in your fucking chin. Because it's like, it's not so much what you said. It's the thought into what you said and how you said it. It's like, you really are that fucking stupid that I want to fucking pop you in the mouth. Like, I've always said that you should be able to punch somebody once and it could be legal. And then if you punch them twice, then it could be a felony. Like, fine. At least if it was warranted and you could... Yeah, if it was warranted, you're allowed one open palm. Like, just fucking one slap. And then after that, then you need to justify why you did it. And yeah, sure, fine. But sometimes social media is just like, bro, why are you alive? Like you're the reason why there's warning labels on shit. But moving on. Social media... So I'm very passionate about things I believe in, like slapping people. But fucking, like, social media is my first number one go-to. If they're between 18 and 40, I'm on social media.
Yeah.
I'm hunting them down. I'm chasing them down. I'm looking at them through social media. And like 8 out of 10 times, they're always on social media.
Right.
Then unknowingly, they're tagging where the fuck they're at. Like on Facebook, their geolocation's on. I already know where they're at. They're screwed.
Yeah.
So I go to social media to find these people. And it's not per se, let's say it's them, because there's like two people I'm looking for. They're federal bonds, which are big bonds. They're 100,000 each. And it's a boyfriend, girlfriend. It's not per se, let's say theirs.
Yeah.
But people like to tag people.
Oh, right.
So what I do is I'll go through their history and look through their older tags.
Yeah.
And then I start from those and I go through their pages. And then I'll find them in their stories. They'll be in the backgrounds. Or they'll be here, or they'll be there. So it's not per se their social media, but their social media was my starting point.
Yeah.
Does that freak you out at all as far as like where we're headed with technology? Now you have like sheer insight. You
can't hide from anyone.
You can't.
Yeah.
No. Like I can give the government a run for their money, and they know that. Like I've already dealt with the ATF, the FBI, or whatever. Like, hi, they know that. So. They know that I can give them a run for the money, but because I know the craft.
Yeah.
And the problem is that what they don't understand is that I let them see what I allow them to see.
Right.
So where that stems from is that a lot of times when I leave the country, I come back, Homeland Security is waiting for me at the door of the plane. Like, no lie. I don't even get out to like general population. I'm at the door of the plane. They take my phone, they take my wallet, and they interrogate the fuck out of me. It looks like locked up abroad. I was in the fucking Virgin Islands. In the Virgin Islands, before I even got on the plane, they kept me in a fucking room for 3 hours by myself, sweating me out.
God.
So bad.
Oh my God.
So it is what it is.
What's their reasoning for shit like that?
Because I have like a background in not liking bad people per se. So like there's a lot of media going around that got spun through the Russians that I was on a team that hunted ISIS.
RT.
Yeah, the RT thing. So that spread, and then like it was so bad that once when the FBI showed up at my house, there was like a 47-minute fucking meeting. It halted all my plans with my team and what I was doing just because like I knew that I was already under the gun.
Right.
Yeah.
So at that point, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you didn't end up doing this, you didn't end up doing that." I leave things to the perception of what the fuck you think I did or did not do. And the reason behind that is because I've already been pointed fingers at by the alphabet boys. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'd rather just not say anything.
I think it's, nowadays, if you're doing things right, you're going to deal with a sea of assholes telling you that you're doing it wrong, especially on social media. It's just part of it, and I always see them as just like gnats, just black flies trying to fly into your eyeballs.
This is what you're always going to remember, and you remember that I said this. People will see you walk on water and say it's because you can't swim.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot, yeah.
People will see you walk on water and say it's because you can't swim. It's funny because people will point one finger and not realize there's 4 pointing back at you.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, why pay them mind? Everyone... Like there's another saying. Like, sorry, I'm full of like fuck. I love sayings.
Love it.
Like,
Love it.
Like I'm big. I love to read. Like, I'm big into like the Book of Five Rings, the Meditation of Marcus Aurelius. So like I'm very into like sayings. So it's like there's another saying, is like the people who do less talk more.
Yep. People, I say this a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, I've
Actually,
said it on this show before.
Yep.
Actually, yeah.
That's definitely one that.
And it's
can be
like, it's
preached a
always
lot.
the people that have fucking opinions are the ones who have never done anything with their fucking lives.
Yeah.
And it's like people like to judge me and like to compare and this and that. And I'm always just like, bro, my pinky alone has done more than your whole fucking life. Like,
Yeah.
I've been to fucking, like, I'm already on my 3rd passport. Like, I've been fucking everywhere and a million times. Like, I could go to anywhere in Central South America and I have fans just like the clients that I work for, just because I'm so in tune with like the fans and I befriend them and they're cool and like I'm a representation of my clients. So I'm not going to be an asshole like the rest of the guys in my industry who are like shove them and fucking are rude to them. I will prep them. I will talk to them when I get there in the airport and I speak to them and I help them. I get them meet and greets. I talk to them. I make the band talk to them. I make them sign shit and we keep it moving.
Yeah.
So it's like, why not go that extra mile to make your life fucking easier?
Well, I feel like when you approach life like that, you start dealing with less friction all around. If you're not creating friction, you're not going to experience it coming from other people. Now, I want to flash back a little bit because
Sorry, we're going back and forth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
no,
I
it's
want to flash way back though
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, the first thing that I found while researching you a little bit, and I noticed it instantly because I'm a big fan of this stuff, is like you're fighting. which is crazy. Like it's not. It doesn't really look.
I always try to avoid this part.
Again, social media will never let you
I'm
avoid
like,
this part.
I'm a nice guy. Like,
well, it looks like it was from. First of all, it looks like it was from a while ago. But yeah, it looks very.
was it like the article on me in the New Times?
No, I'm looking. There's a bunch of YouTube videos of like gym fights.
Oh, the backyard stuff.
Yeah, the backyard stuff.
Yeah. So I have a background. Okay, so professionally speaking, my training background is shoot fighting.
Okay.
So I was under Bart Vale.
Yep.
And then I kind of got bored. I branched out, and then I started training under Alliance with Tarsus Humphreys and BJJ.
Yep.
And then I trained with Sinistro.
Alliance is Marcelo's.
Marcelo, yeah. Well, he was with Alliance. I guess he's his own. I mean, he's under Alliance, I think, or it's called Alliance. I think he's still under Alliance. But Marcelo Garcia is, I think, in New York or something. I don't know. He has his own logo.
He's
it's like an
definitely in
MG.
New York.
Yeah. So I was with them for a while, and then I added traditional Muay Thai.
Nice.
And because I added traditional Muay Thai, and I was under the TBA, which is the Thai Boxing Association, which is the oldest association in I know for sure the United States. I'm not sure if the world.
Yeah.
I was with them for a while, and that's where I got my stand-up from, is through them. So I kind of just mixed my BJJ and my Muay Thai, and then I just created my version of MMA.
Yeah.
Because people have a misconception, I go to this gym to learn MMA or I train MMA. Well, you can't. People don't fucking understand this. Stupid motherfuckers make me mad. You don't, like, people tell me, like, I train MMA. Or I do MMA, or I do UFC.
Yeah, I train UFC.
Okay.
I love that. That's always the best.
I'm like, okay, asshole. Let's start with the acronym MMA.
Yeah.
Mixed martial arts. There's no way you're gonna walk in somewhere and they're gonna say, "Hey, we have an MMA program."
Right.
No, you fuck ass. You have to learn your traditional martial arts.
Yep.
And mix them.
Take what works and mix them, and that is your training. That is where your MMA comes from.
Yep.
So people were predominantly beginning wrestlers. Like you have Matt Hughes and a bunch of Daniel Cormier, and they're predominantly wrestlers. That's where they come from. Then they added things to their toolbox,
Yeah.
and they added more tools and more tools, and that's how that works.
I mean, wrestlers were so it went over so well for wrestlers because they were able to dictate whether the fight was going to be standing up
Or
on the ground,
Right.
right? So once you teach a wrestler how to punch a face in the ground, then it's pretty much game over unless you start evolving with the sport, and that's kind of what that's what the sport did.
Mm-hmm.
So you trained in some really traditional Muay Thai, and you trained in some very traditional Jiu-Jitsu. What do you find useful? I mean, you're the feet on the ground taking down the bad guys. What's the most useful in real life?
So I get that question a lot,
I bet.
and I'm glad I get to address it, and then I'm going to touch on back on probably the fight that you saw.
Yeah.
Okay. everybody is gonna push Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
I don't dog Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Technically, I'm a Japanese Jiu-Jitsu fan, not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fan. And there's a huge difference. And also, I was never a gi guy. Now, here goes the fucking Brazilians talking shit in the comments.
What if they're wearing
a
a jacket? I'm in Miami, motherfucker.
yeah, so it's like, look, there's lots of reasons why I don't do gi.
Yeah.
I tried to do gi. It wasn't my thing. Yes,
Totally
I believe.
different sport.
Yes, and traditionally speaking, you to progress in your belt system, you have to do gi.
Mm-hmm.
I never cared to progress. I wasn't a belt kind of guy. I was more what I could use in my life.
Yeah.
I trained for what I was doing. So all I did was no gi.
Right.
So a lot of my stuff all started standing up. A lot of jiu-jitsu starts on the ground or kneeling positions. I did all my shit standing up. The reason why is because everybody says, oh, 90% of the fights end up on the ground.
Right.
I totally agree with you.
That's a jiu-jitsu.
But let me ask you something. 100% start standing up. I'm pretty sure that if I'm at a bar, I'm not gonna. You're not gonna beef with me. Exactly. You're not gonna beef with me. And it's funny because until recent years they started the rule in jiu-jitsu tournaments where you can't automatically pull guard. You have to make contact with the person and then pull guard.
Right.
So I'm not gonna walk up to you at a bar, touch your leg, and then fucking pull guard. You know, like. So technically, 100% start standing up.
Knee bar.
So if I can keep the distance and I can create the distance and I can dictate the fight standing up and get in at least one solid or two solid hits, get in a clinch, and control the fight. For me, Muay Thai was my base for that.
It's perfect for it.
I trained Muay Thai first and harder. Then I went to the Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And then I just balanced out what I needed. So I kind of made myself, like we were talking about earlier about the character in the game, my attributes would be stand-up and ground. Like if it was between 0 and 10 for each one, my stand-up would be like an 8, and then my ground would be a 6. So that's where I would be in my attributes in both. And just because I've let it go and I haven't trained in fucking years.
I feel like wrestling and takedowns are in there somewhere too, right?
I never trained traditional wrestling.
Yeah.
I've wanted to after my training just because the double legs, the single legs are very helpful. And the funny thing is that every time I've gotten into a fight in the street, I've double legged or single legged subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like it just happens.
Yeah.
So every time I get into a confrontation, my initial thing is drop, pick them up and slam them.
Yeah. Change levels.
Don't know why. It's not something I've actually trained or have been trained in. I guess it's just that everything I've seen in between my training and competing against other people, it's what worked against me. Because since I'm 6 foot tall, majority of people are shorter than me. So it's like they've always shot in on me. Mm-hmm. So because I've learned how to sprawl and how to defend it, I use that as my own defense now. Like I do my own offense. Well, I guess I could say defense because it is my defense. The second somebody swings, I'm going for a takedown.
Yeah. So do you think it's because you're trying to incapacitate them and not necessarily do harm to them? Because I feel like Muay Thai is going to be that thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to slice you open with an elbow. Your head's going to hit the ground. It's going to be really violent. Where, you know, a single leg or a double leg takedown, I'm bringing them to the ground. I'm incapacitating them. Then I'm going to do work.
So my answer is going to come in parts, and the reason why is it's going to push my beliefs of not training in textbook martial arts, i.e. karate. Not hating on karate, GSP and Lyoto Machida, whoever the fuck trains the bullshit.
Can't talk too much shit about.
So, if I say I'm gonna do something when something happens or it arises or I have a plan for it, it's not gonna work.
Yeah, right.
So in textbook martial arts, they teach you, oh, if somebody throws this punch, this is what you can do.
Yeah.
When I'm anti Krav Maga. Fuck Krav Maga. I don't give a fuck who sees this. Fuck you. And the reason why is because they preach and they use the Israeli special forces as like, oh, they use it. Who the fuck cares? The reason behind it is because when have you ever seen training where 100% of the how do I say it? The intention is there.
Yeah.
If I'm going to fight you, if I'm going to throw a punch, or if I'm going to stab you...
Don't fight Jeff, by the
I'm
way.
not going to come do this. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do this.
Right.
I'm coming with intention. I'm going to fucking hurt you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what slap, what parry you're going to use to fucking parry an intentional punch with power, with fucking hate.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. You're not going to parry me. You're not going to fucking grab my fist, twist it, turn my fucking wrist, and put me on the ground. Like, no, fuck you. Like, when have you ever seen a fight like you see in the movie theaters where it's like one punch, you wait for the counter, and it becomes like a fighting? No, motherfucker. Right. It becomes a flurry of punches, kicks, and just recklessness.
Yeah, absolutely.
And fights last seconds. It's not minutes.
Yeah.
You're at somewhere. They're going to separate you. Or somebody's going down, and it's going to be done. It's not like you have that time that you see in the movies, like, oh, I smack you, you go back, you come back and you counter. No, motherfucker. Like, fuck you. Fuck Krav Maga, fucking bunch of bullshit. But I don't have an answer to what my reaction is because it's per situation.
Right.
A lot of times, like, I was at a bar once, I got blindsided, I got hit while I was facing the guy. The interaction was, I got hit by his partner. So I didn't know. And I went to the ground because I had struck his hitting me made me trigger hit the guy I was in front of. Oh, man. So because I was already ready to hit the guy because he was already squaring off with me. So when he hit me, it didn't do anything but make me mad. So that triggered me to hit the guy in front of me. Yeah. So when I hit him, he went down and I went down with him because he felt like holding on to me. I ended up he fell into my guard and I got him in a triangle. This was at a strip club. He fell into my legs. I got him into a triangle while his buddy was trying to hit me. Like, it was a fucking mess. Yeah. But you can't dictate what's going to happen. Yeah. So it's like you have to be ready to roll with what's going to go on. So it's like, I didn't know that was going to fucking happen. I got blindsided, you know? So it's like, how can I tell you what you can do or what you can use? I just think that whatever you do in your life, whatever scenario, train for that scenario. Yeah. So it's like when I'm at the range, not to go back and forth, I'm gonna shoot or go through like different scenarios that work for me. Mm-hmm. Dealing with vehicles, dealing with homes. I'm gonna work a lot of shoot houses, working on reaction drills, like things that work for me. I'm not gonna go to the range and just fucking shoot paper for nothing. Like I'm not these assholes on fucking Instagram that claim to be the God's gift to fucking shooters. But you know, sorry, we're going back and forth on a lot of shit.
It's okay. No, it's good. And if we can, we'll hop all the way back to get back to that fight because I think you wanted to cover that. The one that I saw on YouTube, you tapped the dude out with a triangle.
Oh, yeah.
Some cage in some dude's gym.
Well, that's Dada 5000. He's the originator of the backyard fights. He's a great guy. Love Dada. So the way that fight started, that guy actually trained with me at one point. At the time, I was fighting at 170. I think I weighed in at 168. I weigh 215 now. He weighed in at 198.
Oh, jeez.
So it was, and that's another thing that people don't understand. People are like, oh, but you fought backyard, blah, blah, this and a bunch of bullshit. Okay, look, motherfucker. I fought open weight. I never cared about weight class. I didn't care about style or rules. The only thing I asked for was it had to be pride rules, which means I could strike or kick on the ground while you're on the ground. Because all the other rules is you have to have like the 3-point contact bullshit, whatever. I didn't.
It's way more realistic of what you can do.
I wanted pride rules. So whoever I fought, they had to fight pride rules. At the point, I didn't give a fuck. I just want to fight anyone and anything. This guy, me and him caught beef. Don't know why. I think because he had like a crush on some girl I was smashing. And she turned him down or whatever the fuck. So he got mad at me, started running his mouth on fucking social media. And then we ended up catching beef. They caught wind of it because at the time I had like a following. Because I don't know if I did MTV Made at the time or it was coming up or I was in the middle of filming. I think I was in the middle of filming MTV Made when that fight happened. He was fucking trolling me on social media, different web Facebooks and a bunch of shit. And I ignored him. I'm like, I'm not going to stoop myself down to his level. He outweighed me. I wasn't gonna fucking go out of my way to fight this guy. I didn't give a fuck. The determining factor of why I took this fight and why I fought him and how much time it took me to fight him was because he said he was gonna rape my sister. Jesus. So I'm not one for like the jabs on social media. People could talk shit whatever the fuck they want, but because he was a local, he knew who my sister was. I took it as a credible threat. Yeah. And unlike other people, I am not of this time's norm. I'm still old school. I will fight you over something. I'm not going to call the cops. I'm not going to use my gun. I'm not going to call somebody else to fight my fights. I will fight you on the spot. Whatever. I let it go. He ends up agreeing to fight me that Saturday. I show up. He was 4 hours late. this is why he was 4 hours late. He didn't want to fight me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sure.
They fucking called him, begged him, called everyone around him. He finally showed up because they put so much pressure that I already fell asleep next to the cage of how long I waited for him because I was just so tired of waiting. I fell asleep. He shows up. He's like, I want to wrap my hands. I'm like, bro, I don't give a fuck what you want to do. So he's wrapping his hands. So my corner guy was like, look, let me go watch him because I don't know if he's going to put anything in his wraps. I'm like, go, bro, go.
Yeah.
So he wraps his hands. He does the shit, whatever the fuck. We go through the back and forth, the shit talking, this and that. I hated that fight. And the reason why is because I was coming off of a lung infection. I didn't feel good. I was fucking 168 pounds. Like, I was sickly. And I said, fuck it. I'm just going to fight because I don't back down from nobody. I don't give a fuck. I'll give everybody their fight. We go into the fight. I come out with like a front kick or a teep kick. And I fucked up because knowing that the floor wasn't canvas. What it was like, it was MMA mats, the squares.
Almost like vinyl.
And then it had vinyl over it.
Yeah.
So when I go to set up my
that.
kick and I go to kick, you can look in the video, pay attention to the video. My back heel falls into the crack of the two mats.
Oh, Jesus.
So when I kick him, it pushed me back and I fell. That's what prompted when I fall and he tells me to get up. So I'm like, okay, fine. He doesn't want to keep it on the ground. I figured he was going to come bring it to me because I fell. I'm like, okay, fuck it. He wants to stand, I stand. So I stand or whatever. I get my footing again. I throw like a round kick, I think, to his midsection. He catches it. And then he goes to swing. He misses. And I catch that arm and I pull guard and I put him in a triangle. So I put him in a triangle. I ended up getting it tight. I sink it in. I hit him like 2 or 3 times. And then I remember I felt him trying to tap.
Yeah.
So I go and I
see it in the video.
Yeah, he's going to try to tap. So I grab his wrist so he doesn't tap. So my ultimate goal is to make him sleep. So I was just mad, man, and I fucking like nothing fazed me. Like wasn't hurt. Like I hurt myself more training than the whole fight. So fucking I think the whole fight lasted 1 minute 30 seconds or something.
It wasn't long.
I triangle him. He goes to tap, and the only thing that moves is his fingers, I think.
Yeah.
So Dada comes to grab me. I won't let go, and you see him yanking.
Yeah.
He's fucking yanking, but he's a big dude. So
Yeah.
he finally yanks me, and whatever. Fucking, I get up. I'm mad. I don't know where the fuck I pulled off the X-Pac thing. I think it was X-Pac. like I did the fucking suck it thing, and I was just like, where did that come? Like I wasn't even like a fucking wrestling fan.
It's
like,
visceral.
It just happened. Like, I guess like I was like subconsciously waiting for that to happen all my life. My dream was always to fight in the Shudo tournaments. Mm-hmm. And I never did it just because I saw how commercial MMA has become.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's become such a shit show. I'm like, I'm not going to disgrace like traditional like fight styles into doing it. So that's why I never pursued like
Just
a professional
fight Fugitive.
career.
You'll be all right.
Yeah. So that's why I never
do
pursued
the real
it.
life shit.
Do you still train in any martial arts?
I haven't trained in like 3 years. I've been up and down in like weight training. Like I've been going. I think is I battle between like what I need for the fugitive recovery side and what I need for security side because like I have to keep an image of being huge for the clients.
Right.
But then I'm not healthy enough to chase people.
Right.
So it's like I have to find a happy medium. I'm around 210, 215 right now. I think I want to go back up to 220, 225 because I feel better at that weight and I just look better at that weight.
Yeah.
Even though I spent most of my life at 160, 65 pounds.
Yeah.
So through it all, with all of the stuff you do with security, all the stuff you do with fugitive recovery, everything in between, what fuels you to keep going out there? What fuels you to keep taking these jobs, keep hunting down these people, and keep doing it?
If I don't do it, who's gonna do it?
Right.
Like recently, I posted on my social media the statistics of Florida alone, of Miami alone, of how many warrants. I said there was over 200,000 active open warrants.
Wow.
And there's only a few dozen officers that actually work warrants. So it's like, how do you battle that? Like as law enforcement, they're understaffed, they're under budgeted, they don't have the people who can handle that. So it's like, I feel like I'm helping out their statistic by giving them these people. Because a lot, like, I've never turned in a prisoner to a prison. I've never done it. What I do is I'll call a friend or somebody that works in that area and I'll give them the body and they'll turn them in and they get the stat for it.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I still get my stat because I made the apprehension. I have the proof.
Yeah.
But
They make it to their court date.
they make it to the court date. So on that aspect, they get their they get their arrest, and I get my job and I help them out. So
So where do you see all this going? What's in the cards for
it's
you,
funny
man?
you brought up the cops thing. So the producer, I'm gonna leave his name out because nothing's in writing yet.
All right.
The producer and the cameraman for Cops wants to do a spin-off show with me.
Excellent.
So he's like, I want to do it like the Cops side, but the problem with what people don't understand about Cops, a lot of it was like scripted and
Yes.
and set up.
Yes.
And even though it looked real as fuck, a lot of it was like
That ruined my world when I found that
Really?
out.
I didn't.
Oh, you just
Yeah,
finding
no,
this out now?
his-
Yeah, it ruined
his
my
mind's blown.
world, man. I found that out a couple of years ago, and I was just like,
Yeah,
no.
I found out when he told me. I mean, I kind of had an idea, but I
No,
guess
I had no fucking clue.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there was an
How much of
expose
that shit
on
is
it a couple
framed?
years ago, and it came out that some of it was totally set up, totally
Oh
scripted.
man, I'm so fucking.
I know.
Didn't somebody die filming Cops?
I don't remember. Maybe that probably wasn't scripted.
I don't know.
Well, if it
Probably.
was.
I don't know. I don't know anything. But yeah, he hits me up. He's like, "Look, I want to do this. I'll be in town on the 26th, which was like the 26th of last month, I think it was." And I have yet to see him. I mean, he's probably gonna see this. Sorry. I mean, but what am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying? But like, if I don't have paperwork in my hand, I'm done. Like,
Right.
fuck you. Like,
You don't have time to waste.
No.
There's bad guys to catch
Yeah.
and good guys to protect.
I have the highest arrests of anyone in fucking Florida. I'm not sure about the states, but I know for sure I do 10 to 12 a week. I don't think warrant teams or SWAT teams do.
Wow.
I don't think warrant teams or SWAT teams do fucking 10 a week.
No.
I think maybe
Like
they
that.
do 2.
Definitely not like that.
I think
it's
maybe they
traffic
do,
stops.
and they're whole fucking teams. And that's what I try to explain to people in my last post on Instagram was I told them, I go, there's a reason why in Miami cops pull you over for fucking everything. It's because 9 out of the 10 of their warrants are got on traffic stops.
So they're trying to. That makes
Because
sense.
they don't have enough guys to go work warrants, so they're gonna
Right.
get you on traffic stops.
Right.
You know.
Wow.
Sorry, I mean our fucking podcast is gonna be months long because of all the shit that I know. and
Hey,
I can
no
say.
worries.
So
Hey, no
we
worries.
might have to revisit this like a bunch of fucking
and
times.
you know what? And we will. And I just want to say, I want to thank you for taking time and talking with us on this because I mean, you are busy. You're always out there doing what needs to be done, and I'm just so thankful that we were able to meet up with you in person and talk to you about all this stuff. And we'll do it again for sure.
So if people want to follow you at Official Hardcore on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going, but you can follow me. But but I have only one thing and one qualm about social media or whatever. Is just that like, why follow someone if you're gonna run your mouth? Live your life, do you, and just like don't let anybody not tell you what you're allowed to do. You know, like fuck everybody, bro. Life's short.
Life's
At the
short.
end of the day, man, like one thing I want everybody to take, especially you guys, like when you guys go to bed at night, just remember this: we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Fueled by death,
We're all
man.
fueled by death, man.
It's the
We're
name of the
all
show.
gonna fucking die. So
Yeah.
it's like,
Name of the show.
why not like live your life, bro?
Yeah.
If there was ever something that you couldn't do or were scared to do, fucking do it. Because right now we all leave right now, bro, and fucking the non-existent God, fucking hopefully it doesn't happen. Like, and we get into an accident, we all die. Like, are you happy with your life right now? Did you do what you wanted to do so far? Think about that. Like, have you done what you wanted to do? Like, if you die tomorrow, with your fucking epitaph, would your fucking family say something on the fucking podium and said, he fucking lived his life 120% and he fucking did what he said he was going to fucking do? Are they going to say that? Or are they going to be like, oh, he was a great guy, or he was a nice guy, or this and that? Like I'm intrigued. Like, I just want to die just so I can see what the fuck people have to say about me. Because I'm like, I really want to know.
Got that secret
Yeah.
inside,
Like I
right?
really want to know, but it's like, you know, live your fucking life, bro. Fuck what everybody's got to say, and it is what it is, man. Like, I'm just gonna do me until somebody fucking tests me, and then at that point, I make an example out of them, and it's like, okay, can you guys calm down now? See, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So keep your fucking Twitter fingers to yourself. So you know,
Cheers to all that, man. Thanks for taking the time. I'm down for smashing some food and seeing some of the town. But yeah, thanks for taking the time. Man. Very, very awesome.
Yes.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.